released by the Rams earlier this week has drawn a lot of interest from a lot of teams. Adam Schefter reporting just before we came on the air that the Cowboys have shown interest and are a sleeper team to watch. I've also been told to watch Seattle. New England has checked in on Cooper Kupp. So we'll see where Cooper Kupp lands. He could have a decision in the next couple of days, possibly as soon as today.
Okay, so the Cooper Kupp to Dallas thing is getting a little bit spicy, but it is definitely taking second billing for the spice in Big D. Let's go. Former Cowboys defensive end Demarcus Lawrence, who was the face of that franchise for a period of time, had a lot to say about his former team after walking out the door. He spent 11 seasons there. Now he signs a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Seahawks. And in an interview in Seattle, he did not hold back. Listen.
Dallas is my home. I made my home there. You know, my family lives there. You know, I'm forever going to be there. But, you know, I know for sure I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. So, yeah. We here.
Okay. So now I'm listening. And so was Micah Parsons. And you know Micah is going to have something to say.
Yeah,
he
that
posted,
was funny.
This is what rejection and envy look like. This some clown stuff.
Yeah. Some clown bull.
Lawrence didn't let that one go unchecked. He responded, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. Oh, this gets interesting. Here we go. Yes, sir. A tea for everyone here this morning. There are so many different places that we can begin this. But let's start with this. My father was a lawyer, and he always used to say, truth is an absolute defense. You cannot be convicted of libel or slander if you can prove that what you said is true. Did Demarcus Lawrence tell the truth?
Absolutely. And he said the same thing that we've been saying for a long time here. You look at the Dallas Cowboys, and for so long they're focused on everything except winning. I think what Demarcus Lawrence was saying is, hey, in Seattle, I know one thing. We're chasing a championship. And he feels as though his 11 years, we can all say we want to say he was in the building for over a decade. And I think he feels that from Jerry Jones on down, we're trying to grab attention and all of these different things, but we're not focused on the only thing that matters for a football player, and that's chasing a Super Bowl.
What do you think, Bart?
I mean, time is wasted on the young, right? And sometimes I used to always tell the rookies, like, one day you're going to be sitting in this seat and you're going to understand when you have people that's not serious about winning, because we don't have forever to play. So I need you to take my time seriously. And Michael Parsons right now is a young player. But at some point, Demarcus Lawrence was him. He was a young, gifted, talented player.
What did we do?
The sand run out of the hourglass, and Micah's going to be here as well. And I think he's echoing what I'm sure other players feel like, man. This dude always got something to say.
Malik Hooker said,
yeah, you're a great player, man, but just shut up sometimes. We don't need your commentary on everything. This is the new athlete that comes in, the branding. And you have to ask yourself, listen, do you think that Michael Parsons is now going to be the loudest voice inside of that locker room?
Yes.
Is this the right type of message you want to send out, that you're a Twitter thug or whatever that is?
So look, there's two separate parts of this. Micah, yes, we have all been critical of him. I don't really have a problem with him defending his own team, but I get that part of it. But there are really two separate conversations to be had. There's what Demarcus Lawrence said initially, and then there's the response involving Micah. Let's deal in the first part first.
Sure.
Dan,
have you
we
heard
have
enough?
sat here saying, and by we, I mean me and
there's a method to
practically
my
everyone
madness
else
here.
who comes in here, talking about how the Cowboys are about attention, they're not about winning. They're not really, they selectively aggressive and all in and all the different things that they have said. And that has all come from outside the house. I'll never forget Michael Strahan on Fox when they lost in that playoff game 2 years ago, sort of issuing a plea to Jerry Jones when the game was over, saying, please stop treating this like it's a show. Please stop treating your players like they're actors. Please start treating this like it's a football team, like it's a competitive business as opposed to, show business, which we all understand that on some level it is, and that has made Jerry Jones a very rich man. All those things have come.
Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know it literally does not work. It certainly doesn't work out with Gina Dallas Diva or Lady Libra in both channels. Appreciate it, Lita. And, of course, the vampire that is Holly Pierce. What's going on, Holly? Holly, I hope you get some sleep and stuff, but I appreciate all of the stuff that you end up sending me and things. Appreciate it. We got Jeff Lee. My name is Jeff. We got Logan the Motorsport, who is always here before everybody else. Derek Young, Alan Williams, Chris May, Retro, Grub, and Cowboys. Man, can you send me some pizza? Can you send me? I'd really like a slice. We got Dwayne Sweeney. We got Ken. We got JP Ricks in the house. We got Roland, Stacy Schubert. What's going on? We got Be the God over on the other channel, and Angel. What's up, Angel? How are you doing over there? Did I get everybody that's up in here? Georgie, Cowboys for life. What's going on? Welcome, everybody, on this holiday weekend. I hope that if you are traveling, that you are careful getting where you're going. There's going to be a lot of people out here ready to rock and roll for summer, drinking and driving and drinking and everything else and acting a fool. Be careful, okay? And arriving 10 minutes early is not worth your life. Be careful on the roads. And please remember what this weekend is about. It's about those, excuse me, who are no longer with us. So please definitely keep them in your thoughts. I am excited because I started last week the countdown clock down here. Look at that. This is the exact, to the second, clock to the Dallas Cowboys season opener against the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you believe that? 103 days, 23 hours, 12 minutes, and 12 minutes until kickoff. And I literally cannot wait to get this party started. It's crazy because the Eagle fans, you know, it's funny. I cannot stand the Eagles. We all know this, okay? We know this. Jimbo in the house. What's up, Jimbo? The burgers were good. Oh, my goodness. They were juicy with the mushrooms and the grilled mushrooms, onions, and jalapeno peppers on top of it. Man, I put some sweet pickles, too, with it, and a little Grey Poupon and some ketchup and mayonnaise. Man, and sliced avocado. They were about this big, man. And, you had to have a big mouth to open them up and eat them, but they were good. The thing about the Eagle fans, now I can say that I hate the Eagles. We know I hate the Eagles, okay? But I can at least quantify and say some good things about them that they've actually done. I can, say that Saquon, that season of running the football was incredible, okay? That him going from the Giants to the Eagles was a great thing, and that he's an incredible player. I can say that Jalen Hurts, be it he's not required to carry the team, does show up in big moments. But when it comes to the Cowboys, no matter what it is, there's not a single thing that an Eagle fan can recognize and say, well, they're actually pretty good at doing that. I don't understand why it is that you can't give the Cowboys credit for anything at all. That even the fact that during the regular season that Dak Prescott is kicking your teeth in, you can't even recognize, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, that's bullshit, because we all know. We don't, you actually make it sound like we don't try to play that game against Dak Prescott because we know the Cowboys aren't going to do anything in the playoffs. So we just take that week off, and that's the only reason why. That's literally the kind of argument that you get from Eagle fans. You can't just say, you know what, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, when Dak Prescott plays us, he always gives us the best game. Is that really that hard to actually do? Daniel Camardi, what's going on? Internet Junkie. Mark's but no, I'm just saying. Listen, I have gone through, I have been blessed enough to have done some really cool things. I was giddy when I talked to Harold Carmichael. And listening to him, I can recognize that he was one of the greatest tight ends. In fact, he was a game-changing for the position tight end. Even though he was an Eagle player, I can recognize that he was great. You can't do that. You guys have been beat down for so long until you finally won your Super Bowl that you're holding all of this anger and everything else. Every single thing you do. You guys won the Super Bowl. You shouldn't give a rat's ass what the lowly ass Cowboys are doing. It shouldn't even be a blip on your radar. But yet, everything you do is always turned around and say, boom, shakalaka, Cowboys, and compared with that. I don't understand why that is. Why is that? If y'all beat us week 1 season opener, I will give you credit. Okay, Logan Motorsport, I'm going to keep you to that. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, so forgive me. I'm going to keep you to that. Internet Junkie, hey, it's just took us 35 to get a championship. What's taking y'all so long? Hey, it's a war. Okay, but see, yeah, I guess. But I played that clip from Get Up 2 months ago. And here's the question. This is a real question here for the Cowboys and Cowboys Nation. At the moment, we're getting drunk on what's being said in OTAs. Primetime Phil, hey, what's going on, Primetime? Shout out to Primetime Phil. I really miss not getting, Primetime, it's a travesty that we weren't together for the draft, man. I really and truly miss having us all together for that. We're going to have to do something all together. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the Eagle game. I'm thinking about trying to get an Airbnb close to Philly, but I'm told that, it's going to be open season on Cowboy fans and that, that they're going to have to grease the poles for the Super Bowl party, that the police are on high alert, that there will be drunk Eagle fans and everything else, that it's going to be cray-cray and that I shouldn't go. I'm still crazy enough to say it's on my bucket list. It may be the last thing I do on my bucket list, but it is on my bucket list, so I don't know what to do on that one. Sorry it took 57 years for the Birds to win one Super Bowl. It really did. It really did. Actually, it wasn't 57. It was 50. How old was I? 2017, that was 8 years ago. 52 years. I think it was 52, Willie, because they won it in 2017. The reason I know is this is Super Bowl 60, and I'll be 60 because I'm the same age as the Super Bowl. I played that clip from Get Up because we had, D-Law basically. I think D-Law kind of got tricked into that whole thing because he said, well, I know I'm not going to win a Super Bowl there. Well, of course you're not. You're not there any longer. If you had said that when you were there, then that would make sense that you were throwing shade on the Cowboys. But then, of course, when Micah clamped back and all that, he came back. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. And you know what, D-Law, if you were getting results like Micah Parsons tweeting, I'd been okay with that because you weren't getting the same results as he was. In fact, you weren't even staying on the field because you had been broke down a lot over the last couple of years. But be that as it may, we looked at this point of the year when we had gotten rid of Mike McCarthy, or they couldn't work out a deal with Mike McCarthy. They reached for straws and, ended up with Brian Schottenheimer, who might end up being exactly what they needed. Sometimes you get put in the spotlight and you shine. That people do things that nobody expected them to be able to do, and then when they get the opportunity, they do well. I can say for myself that I never thought that not that I'm a success. I'm not. I never thought that I could be on here and carry on a conversation for an hour straight with no commercial breaks without stuttering. It still blows my mind. But given the opportunity, it actually worked. And this may be shoddy right there. Now, we've got everybody who's saying culture. Oh, I love the culture. George Pickens, who's just got here from the Steelers, is talking about how the culture is great here and how it's changed, how everybody is excited, all the energy and everything else. And I'm not sure if this is real if this is imaginary, if this is fake juice trying to convince themselves what it is. I hope that this energy is truly real. But it's a little hard to understand when we're just in OTAs and we haven't even put on pads and we aren't even hitting ourselves. We're getting excited because I caution people. I caution people because, prime time, you're one of us. Game time, if he shows up here, Law Nation, all of my brethren out here, Cowboys, Cowboys everything, okay? We all go through with the hype story and how great this guy's looking, how great that guy's looking, guys you never heard of. Oh my God, the catch that they made, they're gonna move up the chain even though they're undrafted rookie free agent. And we build up. We got the fake Philly 500 here. Fake Philly 500 in the house. Fake Philly 500. Do you ever get tired of impersonating somebody else because you're not good enough to be made yourself? Do you ever get tired of that? And apparently I don't, fake Philly 500. And it's not quite 10 a day. It's more like 7 a day on average. But, the funniest thing about people like you, Philly 500, that are sitting here talking shit about how many videos I make a day, is the fact that your ass is here every day watching them. So what does that say about you, bro? What does that say about you? Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Why are the Birds not saying it took them 52 years to win one Super Bowl? Oh, always talking about, 30 years since, you're right about that. Willie, we're talking about Birds fans. What happened to your team when your star players get injured? Well, generally speaking, when your star players get injured, you don't play as well. You don't. Dirty Sanchez, hey. The hell is there? Oh, Dirty, you're on the you're on my original channel. We simulcast on Cowboy Joe Boo. That's my backup channel in case YouTube gets crazy. In case, and you may want to subscribe up to that one, people, because YouTube, no rhyme or reason, all of a sudden your shit is gone. And that's why we got the backup. So hey, Dirty. But while you're there, subscribe to that channel there, Dirty, and hit the like button. Okay, so I really and truly like Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer has seemed to me to be a breath of fresh air, okay? He's 51 years old. He's younger. He seems to relate to the players. He's trying to have fun with the players. He's trying to get them motivated, trying to get everything he can out of them. Now, I'm going to still say, and I know people will disagree with me, but Mike McCarthy was not a bad coach. And I think if the Cowboys maybe were doing like they were doing right now, that Mike McCarthy, who was still, I don't care what you say, when you win 12 games in the NFL in a season, you're doing something right. And to do it for 3 years in a row without the Cowboys really doing an all-in and really trying to bring in talent speaks volumes for him. So I'm not here to shit on Mike McCarthy, okay? I'm not here to shit on him. We're just looking at now two different coaches. Now, the interesting part here is Schottenheimer and Schottenheimer and Mike McCarthy are tied at the hips because it was Marty's dad who asked Mike McCarthy to put his son on his coaching staff to get him a start. Philly D, Jordan calls Hurt the new GOAT. Okay. I don't give a rat's ass about what Jordan. I'm not a basketball fan. How about that, Philly D? But I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate that. But we'll see. We'll see if he wins like 5 in a row or something, okay? He's won one freaking ring, okay? He may be a one-hit wonder. Don't start video when your food is half cooked. Share your recipe. Okay, all right. Next time I'll do soup to nuts. I'll keep talking throughout the whole burger. On the end of the tape, I did put the burger in there to show you what it looked like, okay? Damn. No matter what I do, I can't get anything right. Listen to Mike McCarthy. This is 2 years ago or 3 years ago at OTAs for a second. Just listen to him and tell me how you feel about him versus Brian Schottenheimer.
And what do you look for with a player coming off an injury like that at quarterback when you go back-to-back days like that?
Well, I think like any player that has a lower extremity injury, particularly to the joint area, you focus on that, and really we're really past that. I think it's real credit to Dak and Britt and all the work that's gone into it. So he's been moving with a lot of confidence for some time now. So really we're just focusing on the footwork and getting back through each concept, particularly the QB movements and in the fake game, just because those are the things all the quarterbacks we need. We need a lot of work, just as a whole offense, quarterback footwork driven focus. So this is the perfect schedule for him to be on. So he's really capable of doing everything that we've done the last 2 days. We're just being cautious, keeping him out of the team periods, and that's something that we'll evaluate at the end of the week. But I foresee us doing that here, all 3 weeks, and putting them in the team periods once we get into training camp. And it's more precaution on the medical staff and myself, just being smart there. But he looks great. I'm
sorry.
A ton of work into this. So I would say he's ahead of schedule.
Do you feel like running through a brick wall? Did that sound like somebody that you can get excited and feed off of? Did that feel like energy? Did that get you fired up and hyped up? Listen a little more. Hold on, just a little bit more.
With any quarterback, you're always looking at the footwork because that's the base for everything else flows. But when you come off an injury like that,
you see the arms crossed.
Sure that he's not confident in other areas, too much upper torso, or things you can look for.
You see the hat.
I mean, definitely
hiding the face.
The process is pretty much eliminated during the rehab program. I know those are things that, really, if you would have been out on the field the past couple months, you would have seen his work and his rehab.
Alan Williams, guys, pray for the north of the border.
And very similar to
oh, shit.
that we would do in quarterback school.
Alan Williams, I didn't know that north of the border had lost his father. Man, definite prayers to north of the border. I didn't know that. I have not seen him. Pray for your family, man. Amen. Having lost my father-in-law and my dad 2 months ago, I understand exactly how it is. So definitely everybody keep him in your prayers. North of the border. Is he in here? North of the border. Sending you prayers, buddy. I play that. People are like, why are you playing that? Because we got a new coach and everything else. I'm trying to, first of all, you have to learn from the past in order to move ahead, okay? And I want you to pay attention because I want to do a comparison here, okay? There's a method to my madness here, okay? I know I'm crazy, but think about what you saw with Brian Schottenheimer. With Mike McCarthy. God, I'm just like getting dementia. He's got the cap on that's literally got his eyes shaded. He's got his arms crossed, which is like I'm annoyed. And it's just kind of monotone, his responses. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to north of the border, buddy. My prayers are definitely with you, man. I'm sorry you lost your dad. I know exactly how you feel, buddy. Kid Cowboy in the house. Gary Bookwalter. Shout out to you, too. Energy is so much better. Now, look at Brian Schottenheimer. Let's take a look at this.
South, please.
Yeah, Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What's the objective with the rookies this weekend for you guys?
A couple things. Great question.
Great question.
I'd say number one is get them connected. Get them connected to each other, the coaches, the building. Part of that is getting comfortable being here and where we work out and where the meeting rooms are and, okay, what's that person's name? What's that person do here? All those things. And then we got a lot of catching up to do from a football standpoint. We're 3 weeks in, I guess, with our vets. And so that's kind of what I talked about to them, the 3 C's. Get them comfortable being a Cowboy, getting them kind of caught up with football, but probably most importantly, getting them connected to one another.
You started the offseason program a week later than what you normally would as a rookie head coach. Why was that?
I think it was just, you get plenty of work. I wasn't going to do the mini camp. You'd have to start the first week to do the mini camp. Again, you guys get it. This is somebody said underwear Olympics, right? I mean, it's like you get to run around a little bit, but I felt really good about the schedule, and then I wanted the extra week to just kind of give these guys a little bit more time to get away, and then when they got back, it was time to get to work.
Doesn't that sound?
Cowboys, I'm old enough to remember when they did pads.
Me too. Me too.
You see the smile. You see the hands open, the arm up. He is an open book.
What can you see from them and say, okay, this guy got it?
It's hard. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't hard. I think it's not just on the field, Clarence. I think it is in the meeting room. It's good questions. We talk about.
Okay, that's enough of that one. Mean Metal Mike, my uncle's in the hospital, a blood clot in his left lung. Sending him some prayers too. So he's a diehard Steeler fan. Mark currently at the hospital visiting him. Definitely send him some prayers, Mike, and let him know that Joe Boo Sports Report is praying for him, buddy. I definitely know what that's like. My brother-in-law had a clot in his lung. They have heparin, I think it is one form of anti-clotting medication that they give him. And they gave it to him because he was literally on a ventilator because he couldn't breathe. He sounded like Darth Vader. And the heparin didn't work, but they said they had another medication that was stronger at stopping the blood clotting, but they hesitate to use it because they said that it can actually make your brain bleed because it thins it so much. In which case, they gave it to him. Fortunately for him, it worked, cleared it right on up, so definitely send in prayers. He's in the right place to get that taken care of, so definitely putting prayers out to you. So my point of showing Mike McCarthy and Brian Schottenheimer is you're getting a little window into the difference as far as their energy level. You've got Schottenheimer, who is probably excited that he's got the opportunity to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and finally getting that opportunity. And you know where he kind of reminds me a little bit of, with more energy and maybe a little bit happier, is he reminds me a lot of Kyle Shanahan. Now, I hope that we have that same kind of effect, because the funny thing about Kyle Shanahan, who people look at and say he's a genius and things, again, his dad being, the Shanahan that won Super Bowls with Denver and things, and coaching at Washington. He was the offensive coordinator. This show is more than sports. You're right about that one, Logan Motorsport. This show is definitely about more than just sports. Amen on that one. But you think about Kyle Shanahan, who was offensive coordinator for the Commanders, back then the Redskins. Not a lot of people thought that he was going to be a very good head coach because he was with the Commanders. And so maybe you see a trajectory in the same way with Brian Schottenheimer. Father was, of course, a great coach, having been an offensive coordinator for the Jets, for Seattle, and with the Cowboys, now getting his chance to, after being an offensive coordinator for so many years, experiencing football growing up through watching his dad and things, gets that opportunity and is able to run with it. Scotty to Hottie. Now Shotty is Shanahan. This is hey, Scotty. I get sick of this shit. I honestly get sick of this shit sometimes. Listen to me. Scotty to Hottie. What did I say? I said, I hope. I said, one, I said he reminds me of Kyle Shanahan. He just does. He looks a little bit like Kyle Shanahan. Well, Kyle Shanahan actually right now looks a little bit older right now because he just looks like he's worn out. He's lost more weight and things. My point being is, if you take Kyle Shanahan, who was an offensive coordinator many years with the Washington Commanders, that was not a successful team. He wasn't like Ben Johnson that had, 2 years of being an offensive coordinator and then gets hired by the Bears. He was an offensive coordinator for about 8 years. 8 years before he became the head coach of San Francisco. And San Francisco hired him because they had been downhill for so long, they were looking for a new head coach. Just like Brian Schottenheimer, whose dad was Marty Schottenheimer, a great coach growing up with football. He did the same thing, being an offensive coordinator for the Rams, for the Jets, for the Seattle Seahawks, and then the Dallas Cowboys before he got a chance. He was not the hot coordinator like a Ben Johnson. After a couple of years, becomes the head coach. And I said, I hope that we see the same kind of results
here like
that we had
not
with Kyle Shanahan. How is that delusional? I didn't come in and say, he's better than Kyle Shanahan. It's not what I did. I compared circumstances that are similar. So don't be a jackass. Don't be a jackass. And see, people want to know why, I got banned. Oh, I got put in timeout. Because if you come in here and wasting people's times with the stupid ass comment because you don't know shit, you're wasting everybody's time. You're just wasting, and Lady Libra, Mean Metal Mike, Cowboys up north, they didn't come in here for stupidness. Willie Vester, what's up, Willie? Scotty might be too young to know all of that. Well, I don't know. Well, he's 51, but he's been coaching for quite a bit of time. Mark, some people, okay. Mark, let them talk. Shorty is going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're going to. Now, we're hearing George Pickens. He's talking about culture. But, I don't think he had a losing season in the time he was with the Steelers. I don't think. Now, they haven't had success in the playoffs with him, but they were always winning more games than they were losing. And you have to look at the Steelers and say that they've had more of a culture that's been focused in on football more than a marketing agency. So him coming in now and saying the culture, I don't know if that's right or not. Maybe it's just he's so happy to be done with Pittsburgh, and he looks at it and says, Dak is a whole lot better quarterback than what I've been facing, and having CD, my homeboy, on the other side, who I know is going to get some of the attention, is going to make life a lot better for me. That may be the case. I mean, Scott, shouting, Mark. I think he's going to do a good job. Now, let's understand. We as Cowboy fans get to be overly emotional. We'll jump off ship. Screw this team, man. I'm done with them, man. I'm done with them till Jerry Jones sells the team. They suck. I'm never going back. I'm not going to spend a dime of money on them. Boycott the team. Boycott the franchise. Dak his ass. Screw him. Micah Parsons. He tweets too much. He's got his podcast. The hell with them. Right? Mark trying to turn Shotty into Sirianni because of excess. You know what? Scotty the Hottie, you Eagle fans, I tell you what. I hate your organization, but I can respect them. That's something that you can't do. You Eagle fans aren't big enough to at least respect somebody else. I can respect that the fact that your team has figured out how to win in this era. And that is how to manipulate the salary cap, how to get deals signed, signing guys early, kicking the money down the road when it's going to be less than the percentages. You take care of your center. Year 3, season over, boom, you get him paid. Instead of waiting until the 5th-year option where it's going to be the most and you don't have room to hide it. Cam Jurgens. Lovely Linda in the house. What's up, Linda? Now, maybe the Saquon blows up in your face, $20 million a year. I don't know. I mean, incredible season. What has happened to everybody who's rushed for 2,000 yards is the next year their numbers drop off a lot. A lot. And unless Saquon, because I'm hearing Eagle fans that think that Saquon's going to go for 2,000 yards again. And y'all say we're delusional. Just saying. That's one of those ones that could blow up your face. But your team recognizes we got to take care of our people and we got to bring in more people. We can't be satisfied with just saying we're good enough. We're never good enough. You're constantly trying to supplement the team. I wish my organization would do that. We've always been the organization that's always been, we're going to do more with less. We're going to do more with less. That's right. We paid Dak, so Dak's going to have to win it on his own. Oh, CD? Yeah, we paid CD, so CD's got to get himself, 3 to 5 more touches a game. And that's how we'll win the Super Bowl. We don't even have a capable plan, at least before this year. But I can say it's changed. But I caution fans that are now thinking, man, we going to run the table, man. We going to the Super Bowl now. We got George Pickens, man, and, we're going to be great. We still have fundamental flaws. We still have brand new coaching staff and philosophy, and we still have Jerry and Stephen Jones. So pump the brakes a little bit. Instead of us getting psyched up on how many games we're going to win or we're going to make the playoffs, how about we go through the process and enjoy the ride? Barkley was a bust last year. Jalen reading defenses makes it easier. He wasn't a bust. He rushed for 2,000 yards. What do you mean he was a bust? That offense, let's be true. Let's Philly D and Eagle fans, let's be clear here. You guys got lightning in a bottle by putting Barkley on a great offensive line, and you rode that pony all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm sitting here listening to you guys won more games in a single season than any other team. Now, granted, there are 17 games now, which is more games than there used to be. But you guys did a great thing. You lost, 1 out of the last 12 games. Dak Prescott's not the problem. Philly 500, or fake Philly. You put Dak Prescott on a team that's loaded like that, you're going to see that team go to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. Fact. Washington fans is told we the champs. Huh? Washington fans see now, y'all was told we the champs. Oh, don't even get me started on the Washington fans. They're going crazy. They're coming out like y'all are, Eagle fans. I didn't say he was a bust. I didn't think that he was going to go for. I'll be real. I'll be 100% real. Barkley, and actually, it makes sense. In New York, their offensive line was shit. It just was. And so Barkley kept getting injured because he's getting hit in the backfield. Okay, when you get hit in the backfield, here's the difference. If you can get through the line of scrimmage, as opposed to being tackled in the backfield, instead of having 300-pound plus guys falling on you where you get injured, you're getting hit by linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks, guys that are a lot smaller. And I can use Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden, 3 seasons before he came to the Cowboys, was averaging like 3.3 yards a carry and stayed injured. He came to the Cowboys when we actually had the Great Wall of Dallas 2, when we had Tyron Smith not breaking down, Travis Frederick, and Zach Martin. And he was getting through the line of scrimmage, 2 yards downfield before he's getting contact. And he stayed healthy, and he averaged like 4.5 yards a carry. Those things matter. Saquon, on that offense, that offensive line opened up holes for him. And instead of getting pounded down in the backfield like he had been, it stayed healthy. That's the difference. I did not think he was going to be able to hold up like that, but he did. And I was wrong. I am big enough a man to admit that I was wrong. He made a hell of a difference. But even you Eagle fans, I remember talking to Philly 500. I said the biggest worry is you overload Saquon and he doesn't make it through the season. And he's like, yeah, but we're not going to need to have him run like that. We got Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and stuff. So it's, he's going to have a part-time role. No, you found something that works and you rode that sucker all the way through. I wish I could do the same thing. I wish DeMarco Murray was still young. Barkley wasn't better than him, and that's the facts. Okay, well, Philly D, you've said everybody sucks on the Cowboys, so what's the difference? I'm tired of hearing the same stupid narrative from Eagle fans that Dak can't read defenses. If Dak can't read defenses, let me go here, because there is a misnomer that you guys have been polluted from too much ESPN and the bullshit that you get. Explain to me, if Dak can't read defenses, how it is that he's considered one of the most accurate quarterbacks, not just of right now, in NFL history. His accuracy is better than guys like Tom Brady, believe it or not, Aaron frickin' Rodgers. And that's not on a loaded team like you guys have. When was the last time we had more than one decent receiver? The last 3 years, we've only had CeeDee Lamb, who literally over the last 2 years has over 2,000 yards more than the next guy. Explain that one to me. So here's my rebuttal to he can't read defenses and he can't throw down the field. Let me come to this one. Regardless of outside narratives, Dak Prescott deserves to be mentioned among the elite at the position. There are at least 2 stats that prove that. First, as pointed out by media personality Down Rodgers on X, Prescott accuracy ranks him higher than some of the best quarterbacks, not in just today's game, but in the history of the game. Those names include Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. In fact, per Pro Football Reference, Prescott ranks 7 all-time in NFL history in career completion percentage, which put him above legendary greats like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Brett Favre, Troy Aikman, Andrew Luck, Eli Manning, Rich Gannon, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino. Now, I tell you what, here's what I'd like to see, Philly D, and I'm not trying to be an ass tonight. Walker Wade, Zach Martin said we have a team to win, had the teams to win, fell short. Walker Wade, what's going on, Walker? Are we still going to be okay, Walker? How is it that you are on the cusp of having more yards in the Cowboys' history and more touchdowns? That and I'm not saying that he's better than Troy Aikman or Roger Staubach, but I'd like to see I'd like to see Dak with a situation like Troy Aikman, because Eagles, it kills me to say this, but your team is about the closest thing that I've seen since the 90s Dallas Cowboys. you're loaded across everywhere. It's hard to find weaknesses on your roster. And that's when I look at the Dallas Cowboys back in the 90s, when you had that great wall of Dallas, you had the all-time leading running back in Emmitt Smith, you had Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, you had Troy Aikman. Yeah, the crazy thing is Troy Aikman only had one season of over 20 TD passes. When you needed him, he was there, most accurate in the world. But he wasn't asked to do everything for the Cowboys. It wasn't, we're going to win or lose on Troy Aikman's arm. That's when in football, you have a great offensive line. You got a defense that can stop the run. Everybody puts everything on one single guy. And when we lost to San Francisco, I can look at it and say there are a lot of people that didn't perform either, along with Dak. And that's a team. Your team won the Super Bowl. Your team played great. Not anymore, Mark Holmes. Gary Buck. Okay. Is Dak an investment with no returns for 10 years? What do you think would happen? I'm not going to say he wasn't a return, because I tell you what, Dak Prescott made money for the Cowboys. He's made money. If you think that Dak Prescott would be there without doing something for the franchise for 10 years, you got another thing mistaken. You said the truth, or you admit that Eagles are better than the Cowboys. I said how is it? See, this is the difference between Cowboy fans like me than Eagle fans. I can recognize and say that the Eagles are a good team. I can recognize that and say there's a reason why they won the Super Bowl. I can be objective. You Eagle fans can't. Eagle fans can't. Y'all make it sound like literally, I saw an Eagle fan on Twitter say that Dak Prescott is Dan Orlovsky. Literally making the argument that Dan Orlovsky and Dak Prescott are the same guy. Clayton, yeah, definitely Clayton. Shout out to you, Clayton, being a channel member. Yeah, A.J. Brown is like, yeah, that's going to be some shit to worry about. Here's where I find it kind of funny that, you know, everybody's been having a good joke this week because Pro Football Focus said Dak Prescott is rated 17th quarterback-wise, right? 17th. The Dak Prescott, that Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than he is. That the Prince down in Jacksonville is better. That Justin Herbert is better. And I'm sitting here like, I don't think any of those guys, Geno, have been a runner-up MVP in any of their seasons. And if you're saying it's playoffs, none of them, I think the Prince down there has one playoff win, but he threw 5 interceptions in that game. So do you give him credit for that win? 5 turnovers and they won? Okay. Just saying. But this is funny to me when Pro Football Focus turns around and says, oh, CeeDee Lamb's going to have a great year. CeeDee Lamb, now they got George Pickens, is going to be great. Is CeeDee Lamb throwing the ball to himself? Yeah, Logan Mosler. Duval. Oh, that's the craziest shit there. Duval. I can't wait to see that guy. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Brian Schottenheimer, of the rookie head coaches, will be more successful this year than any of the other ones. Put it, bank it, put money on it. Put money on it. Just don't blame me if it doesn't happen. But listen to this.
I want to start with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas, because I think this past year, between Dak Prescott's injury and then just the lack of a second threat, right? I think what you saw last year is without Brandon Cooks, kind of out of his prime now, without a legitimate receiver to take the top off and open things up for Lamb underneath, you're talking about somebody who saw a lot tighter windows and just couldn't make as much happen. You saw a lot less production on those shorter throws and less production after the catch, but it's about opening things up for CeeDee Lamb again. So I think he's somebody who could be in for a huge bounce back back year. If Dak Prescott is healthy, if George Pickens is the deep threat that they need him to be, or at least the threat of that, right? The decoy on the outside that just doesn't allow you to double and triple team and focus your whole defense on Lamb the whole.
Okay. If they're saying that, understand, he said Brandon Cooks isn't in his prime anymore. Understand, Brandon Cooks was not playing when Dak Prescott was playing. You all know that, right? You do know that, right? That Brandon Cooks had an infection in his knee and did not play until late in the season. You understand that, right? As you go through and say, well, Dak was slow. Dak wasn't doing anything, to start the season. You had Jalen Tolbert, who going into that year basically became the number 2 wide receiver, having about 300 yards in his career. That was your number 2 wide receiver. You had guys like Jalen Brooks as your number 3 wide receiver to go with CeeDee Lamb. Understand, you had Zeke, you had Deuce Vaughn, you had Dalvin Cook as your running backs, and through the first 7 games, we averaged, wait for it, 72 yards a game, which is historically the lowest production total in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. You understand that, right? You understand that you had 2 rookies starting in the NFL, one of which was a right tackle in college and only had 13 starts and got moved to the left side to replace the Tyron Smith. You understand that, right? And he is admitting that there was no deep threat to open things up, and that, of course, CeeDee Lamb didn't have that many opportunities because of it. So if all of these things happened, and you look at it and say George Pickens helps to open up things for CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb is going to be better, how is CeeDee Lamb going to be better if Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott's not going to be? Does that make any sense? They've gone through and they said, oh, Dak Prescott, he's like 17. He sucks. Even though he was 2 seasons ago a runner-up MVP. Right? Okay, I got that. Okay. Because Dak Prescott haters, oh my God, they're salivating. They're putting my picture, literally putting my picture on their videos to trash Dak Prescott. Because I'm the Dak Prescott, yeah. The Dak Prescott fanboys. The Dak Prescott fanboys. They're bad, they're angry, and it's like, why you got to use my picture? Why can't you use my likeness? But that's okay. That's okay, because I believe in my quarterback. And until we get somebody to replace him that's better, because I done seen people say, I can't wait to see Trey Lance. Trigger Trey. We need to start him. Andy Dalton. Can't wait to see Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, same thing as Dak Prescott. Right? We should see the Nooch. Cooper Rush, man. And in Rush I trust. Yet somehow, Dak is still here. Dak is still here. You don't think if the Cowboys could replace him, they would? Dwayne Sweeney, he put up a lot of stats against bad teams, Mark, and other quarterbacks were either hurt. Oh, here we go. Okay, Dwayne. You know what? I'll say this much. If he is so bad and he's only putting up stats against bad teams, okay, how is it he's getting up there with all of these yards? Over 30,000 yards passing. Wouldn't that be the standard for everybody out there? Because, for example, some of these divisions are terrible. For years, the NFC North, it'd only be like one good team. So how come everybody isn't getting these numbers? How come all of these quarterbacks are MVP candidates? How come all these quarterbacks aren't throwing 35 TDs or 36 TDs, 37 TDs in a season? You don't get that because you suck. And you're right, Keith. Dak is good, but not good enough to do it without help. Take Saquon off the Eagles. Are they winning the Super Bowl this year? Yes or no? Take Saquon off and put Zeke Elliott on there. Take Devontae Smith off of there and put Jalen Tolbert. Take Dallas Goedert off of there and put Schoonmaker on there. Take Lane Johnson off there and put Terrence Steele. How about that? You tell me. Is Jalen Hurts winning the Super Bowl if you do those things? Because he's not. Nobody is. So we turn around and say, Jalen Hurts couldn't do that, but Dak Prescott, he sucks because he can't. When nobody else is going to be able to. You can't win without having the dogs in the fight. You think we won the Super Bowl because just Troy Aikman? No. That freaking all-world line. That great wide receiver. That tight end. Jay Novacek, that was a security blanket. Having the players matter. And stop being this, the quarterback if we just get a different quarterback, we'll be okay. Because if that was the case, Aaron Rodgers would be winning it every year. And he doesn't. This team, the Dallas Cowboys, have not given the resources to the teams to go all the way. We all know from the Eagles going all in, from the Rams, from Tampa Bay, you have to get the players on the roster. They want Dak to be Cleveland LeBron James. Awake? You don't have to replace the whole team. Awake. What you got here? Here's the thing that's so crazy about this. I'm awake. Do you think? Let's just go back. Let's just go back 2 years ago. Do you think if the Dallas Cowboys had got themselves a great linebacker and a run-stuffing defensive tackle, do you think that would have made a difference? Do you think that would make a difference to stop the run? I do. It's not like you've got 10 players that you need to replace, a whole team. All we're talking about is adding a few more pieces. I love adding George Pickens. Some rumors out there that Miami's trying to trade Jalen Ramsey. Give me a cornerback that's not coming back off an injury that we're going to rely on. Give me a run stop. I tell you what, you give me a legitimate run-stopping defensive tackle and another legitimate cornerback, and I'll say Dak Prescott's got no excuses. And maybe even throw in a Nick Chubb, because that's what the Eagles would do. They do those things to say, we're going to make sure we have all the resources to be able to win. And we're not going to be satisfied to say, well, this is all we got. No, you got to go out and get it. That's exactly what you just did, Mark. That's not a whole new team. We're still making up for last year letting go 9 players, dude. We let go 9 players. We didn't have a legitimate running attack. Come on, man. Whatever. Dak just sucks. If that makes you feel better, and I'm sure somebody will cut that up. Dak is the problem. Dak is the problem for all of the Dallas Cowboys issues. But here's what I know. We've won a hell of a lot more with Dak than when he's been out. Dwayne Sweeney, when one of them is a kick returner, one of them is a punter, and one of them is your kicker. That's 3 of them. The other part on that, Dwayne, the Dallas Cowboys and their marketing machine, that as soon as Pro Bowl voting comes out, you see my man Law, here's the links to vote for Cowboys. I get my girl, Miss Jackie, she's sending me the links. Cowboys faithful go out there and they push their people. And that's a third of the votes, guys. It's the popularity of the Cowboys. Sorry. Do you look at it and say that the Cowboys had that many players that were all better than everybody else in the NFL? I'm not sure about that. But it's fine. The hate drives you guys. It's all good. With that being said, I'm tired, boss. I've been beat down enough today, and I got to work in the morning. So enjoy your holiday weekend. I appreciate everybody being here. Mean Metal, we're praying for your uncle. Cowboys up north, definitely sending prayers for you for your father's funeral tomorrow. I understand and I feel for you. And Romo was another one. We were close. Couple pieces here and there might have made the difference. All righty, good people. As always, I appreciate you all coming in and kicking my teeth in. I know how much y'all enjoy that. It's time to turn out the lights. This party's over.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.